Hey, this is part 2 of chapter 2, 3, and 4. The fertile and wealthy river valleys of the first civilizations also attracted outsiders. The Indo-Europeans were a group of nomadic peoples who came from the steppes, the dry grasslands of Western Asia. The group spoke many different languages, but all of these languages came from the same original language, which influenced many modern-day languages. For some reason, starting about 3,700 years ago, the Indo-Europeans began to move into settled areas and conquer them. These migrations, movements of people from one region to another, took place over a long period of time. The Hittites were one of these Indo-European groups. They rode two-wheeled chariots and used iron weapons. They conquered Anatolia, also called Asia Minor, which is a huge peninsula in modern-day Turkey. They then moved into the ancient lands of Mesopotamia. The Hittites continued to move south and ran into the Egyptians, and neither side was able to defeat the other. The Hittites ruled their southwest Asian empire for about 800 years. The Egyptian Empire and the Hittite kingdom eventually fell to invaders called Sea Peoples, who were probably the Philistines mentioned in the Bible. Later, Egypt and the Fertile Crescent fell under the control of another empire, the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians began as a farming people in the northern part of Mesopotamia. Because their homes were open to attack due to a lack of natural barriers blocking invaders, they formed a strong fighting force. Soon, they turned to conquest. The Assyrians used many different methods to win their battles. Their armored soldiers carried strong iron-tipped spears and iron swords, and used a large number of men with bows. They dug tunnels under city walls to weaken them. They used heavy battering rams to knock down the wooden gates of the city. We'll see these same techniques used by armies 2,000 years later. They usually killed or enslaved those they defeated. Assyrians wanted to dominate the peoples they conquered. They forced groups of captives to leave their homelands, so the captives were too far away to rebel. Of course, the Assyrians made many enemies in the process of empire building, and those enemies banded together and ended the Assyrian Empire. To the east of the Fertile Crescent, in modern-day Iran, rose a new empire, the Persian Empire. The Persians had joined with other forces to help defeat the Assyrians. Not long afterward, the Persians began their own conquests. The king was Cyrus. No, not Miley Cyrus, King Cyrus, the skilled general who led his army to conquer a huge empire that stretched from the Indus River Valley in India all the way to Anatolia. The empire covered about 2,000 miles. Cyrus won this vast land in part because of the wise way he treated the people there. Cyrus did not try to dominate like the Assyrians. Cyrus made sure that his army did not harm the people he conquered and allowed the people to practice their religions and honored their local customs. After Cyrus's death, future kings extended the empire. To help administer their huge empire, Persians built the Royal Road to help unite the large empire. This excellent road system ran 1,677 miles and had royal messengers on horses who could travel this distance in about 7 days. The Royal Road made communication better within the empire, and transportation became easier too. The Persians had metal coins with a standard value that could be used for business anywhere in the empire. This money system, along with the Royal Road, helped increase trade. During the Persian Empire, a new religion arose in Southwest Asia called Zoroastrianism. A prophet named Zoroaster taught that there were two powerful spirits. One stood for truth and light, while the other represented evil and darkness. These two spirits were in a constant struggle, and people needed to take part in the struggle. They were judged on how well they fought. These ideas of this monotheistic religion, a religion with only one God, influenced later religions. We know that early civilizations, like today, traded for what they didn't have. A culture of seafaring traders, called the Minoans, arose around 4,000 years ago in the Mediterranean, on the island of Crete, on the southern edge of the Aegean Sea. The Minoans sent their fine pottery, swords, and metal drinking cups to other lands. Minoans also exported their art and culture and were an influence on the Greeks. After the Minoans declined due to earthquakes and volcanoes around 3,000 years ago, the Phoenicians from what is now Lebanon traded far and wide. The Phoenicians set up colonies all along the Mediterranean coast and may have sailed as far as Britain and sailed around Africa. Trading networks over land and sea connected the Mediterranean with South and East Asia. These networks helped people exchange products as well as ideas, religious beliefs, art, and ways of living. They did not just trade goods, they also helped trade culture. The most important cultural achievement of the Phoenicians was their alphabet. They used symbols to stand for the sounds of consonants, and through trade brought their system of writing to other lands such as Greece, where Greeks changed the form of some of the letters. The alphabet that we use today, however, had its beginnings in Phoenician writing. The Phoenicians lived in a region at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea that was later called Palestine. The Phoenicians were not the only ancient people to live in Palestine. The Hebrews made a claim to an important piece of the land in Palestine called Canaan. The Hebrews believed the land had been promised to them by God. Most of what we know about the early history of the Hebrews comes from the Torah, the sacred book of the Hebrews. We'll learn more about the Hebrews and their religion, Judaism, later when we discuss the major monotheistic religions that arose in Southwest Asia.
Are we clear?
Yes, we're clear on chapter 2, 3, and 4.
Are we clear?
Let's just move on to chapter 5.
Laughing and singing,